Thank you. Thank you. Now that we are all back from the break, let me all ask you something. And I want you to actually think about it, not just nod along like you do in your 9 a.m. lectures or meetings. What if humanity's most treasured institution was actually holding us back? I know. Stay with me for a second. When you think about it, the minute we are old enough to understand anything, we are always told that family is everything. It is the foundation, the bedrock. It is the thing that makes you, you. Every Oscar acceptance, every graduation speech, and every WhatsApp family group chat that you all have definitely not muted. It all points to the same thing. Family is sacred. But here's the thing about sacred cows, nobody ever questions them. And we in this room, with the theme Beyond Square, we question everything. So let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is the concept of family optimal? Is it the most optimal structure for human flourishing? And stay with me here. Is it just a beautifully emotional constraint that holds us back from achieving our true potential? See, the thing is, when we think about, when we consider, when we remove the nostalgia from the family, every Sunday dinner, matching pajamas at Christmas, all we are left with is an institution that asks each and every one of us to sacrifice our highest potential for a group of people we never even chose to be a part of. And that, my friends, is a design problem. First, the uncomfortable data. Because I did not come here just to philosophize, I came here with receipts. A landmark study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals who stayed close to their homes and without any familial obligations scored significantly higher in measures of creative risk taking and, and career mobility compared to those who stayed close to their parents. Why? Because they had the freedom to fail. Nobody was holding them back. Nobody would suffer at home if they took that leap. Research conducted by the UK Institute of Fiscal Studies found that adults who graduates, especially, who stayed close to their homes compared to graduates who moved away. When you talk about the graduates that moved away, earned 10% higher than those that stayed close to their home. How is that possible? It is not because they've studied harder. It's not because of academic skills. It's not because of grades. It's because the family creates an invisible ceiling of obligation. The, a global umbrella review published in the Journal of Mental Health and Prevention found that 1 in 3 adults who care for a family member suffered from severe levels of anxiety and depression. And another report published by the KFF also found that individuals who have the responsibility to care for a family member, especially young adults under the age of 25, all reported symptoms of anxiety and depression, with family, finances, and obligation being the core elements that drive this response. Imagine, imagine what you could achieve with a bit of that mental load back. Imagine what you could do if you did not have this constraint holding you back. Now, we talk about a concept as economists call the opportunity cost of care. A 2020 Oxfam report published with the data from ILO found that informal caregiving, predominantly falling on women, cost the global economy approximately $10 trillion annually in lost revenue and foregone career development. $10 trillion. So, by every rational, economic, psychological metric, the family unit creates constraint. It slows us down. It anchors us to geography. It creates obligations. And these are for people that we never even chose to be a part of. And yet, like if you are someone who designed the family system from scratch, and like you had to create the most optimal structure for human flourishing, you probably wouldn't create the family. And yet, here I am, standing in front of you, delivering a TEDx talk, which 3 years back looked as likely as me winning a Formula One championship. And I asked myself, how did that happen? How did I get here? How am I in this position? Because it wasn't my grades alone. It wasn't my hard work. It wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. At the end of the day, it was my family. Because all this while, I've been throwing stats at you, I've been throwing data, and I've been showing like why the family is a constraint, a cost, a clog in the machine of human achievement. And the statistics agree as well. But statistics measure what people do. They don't measure why they keep going. They don't measure the quiet sacrifice of a parent who had to wake up at 5 a.m. and had to stay up all night paying bills so that their children could sleep through the night without worry. They don't measure the quiet sacrifice of somebody who gave up their ambitions, their version of this stage, so that you could stand on yours. I think about it often, about the sacrifices that my family have made. And it really fills me with a lot of gratitude that maybe I might not have been able to repay them appropriately. And the thing is, I always consider, with all the data that I've studied, that, the family is a constraint, it's a cause, it's a systematic flaw that we've been living it throughout our lives. But when I think about it, and I think about my family, one thing I've realized is that they always showed up. Whenever I wanted to do something that was so extraordinary, that was so, like people around me never believed I could achieve, they still supported me, even if they didn't understand what it was about. And it is this undying gratitude, it is this relentless support for my endeavors that fills me with gratitude. I would like to recollect a story while I was preparing for my TEDx talk. I was talking to my parents, and I was running ideas through them, and they listened for 20 minutes. And then they told me and I'm paraphrasing slightly, we don't understand a word that you've just said right now, but we know you're going to be brilliant. Come on, guys. This is not a rational response. This is not optimized behavior. This is not an economically efficient allocation of belief. This is love. Unconditional, unreasonable, relentless, undying love. And that, my friends, is something that no individual living alone can manufacture for themselves. The most important thing that the family unit presents forward to us, even though we might not value it, is the fact that they believe in you even before the results are in. They don't need a set of spreadsheets or graphs to know your worth, because they believe in you no matter what. They see your potential even at your lowest. That's what makes this family special. It's a system with flaws, but it's beautiful. And I keep trying to think about the different ways my family has shaped my life, the different times they've showed up, the different times they've nurtured me, guided me, cared for me. In all these moments, I keep thinking to myself, what was the point of this TEDx talk? The stats said a story. The stats said a whole different agenda. And I find myself recollecting my own experiences and thinking, my family has done so much for me. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the stats say. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much wealth you have amassed. It's the connections that matter. And the family is the most pure form of it. So, it's the concept of family optimal. If you're measuring it by economic output, social autonomy, and creative outlook, most probably not. And the stats agree with me as well. But if you're measuring it by the thing that matters the most, the fact that somewhere, someone out there is believing in you, no matter what the concept is, no matter what, it's all unconditional belief in what you're going to do, then the family unit is not just optimal, it is irreplaceable. We live in a world that is obsessed with optimization. We optimize our sleeps, we optimize our schedules, we optimize even our social media feeds. And in all of this optimization, we have to ask, what is the role of the family in all of this? Because the family doesn't optimize, the family loves. And in a world that is so obsessed with a fast moving pace of optimization, in a generation that is just disconnected, this might be the most radical, counterintuitive, beyond square idea that is out there. I sometimes think about the sacrifices that my parents have made for me to be standing in this situation that I'm right now. The quiet nights, the long, the long nights of my dad working hard, my mother slaving around just to ensure that I'm fed, I'm healthy, I'm happy. In all of these sacrifices, I have to ask myself, would I be the man I am today if not for these sacrifices? In all of these questions, I've come to one conclusion. And I'm sure if all of you sitting here today looked around at the people who made you can find the same answer. The concept of a family might not be optimal, but it is quite possibly the most human thing mankind has ever created. And that, my friends, makes it worth everything.